Finding it on there, waiting in the food.
This is our Springer pen. We had one calf born last night. It's a heifer calf. Yeah, we have a bedded pack pen where we keep our Springers in. There's usually anywhere from 15 to 20, sometimes 25 in here. Yeah, here's the one we had born last night. Here's a new calf we had born yesterday, and he didn't get fed yet. It's a bull calf that will go to auction today. He didn't get fed yet. He thinks he's really hungry, so we're getting ready to feed him.
So we got all the calves fed. Everybody's happy. Except that noisy one back there. Yeah. Oh, he's getting a little frisky.
Well, good morning everyone. This morning is Sunday, October 22nd. Yeah, I'm gonna do the feeding here this morning. I'll try to get some video of that. Yeah, see once how this all goes. So, yeah. We use a tractor with a loader on to load our mixer. Yeah, some guys use skid loaders. A small pay loader would be really nice, but we have two loader tractors. And yeah, I mentioned about feeding balage. It's hay that's baled with some moisture in it yet, and then we wrap it in plastic. And yeah, it makes really beautiful feed, but we always put that right in front of our one trench, and yeah, it works really good. We can scoop it up. We feed about a half a bale of feeding, a whole bale a day. It's a round bale, so yeah, it's not like you can mess up too much on the amounts, but I'm not saying it's always exact, but it's usually pretty close. So yeah, we put the balage in first, the balage in the straw. That way it has longer. We dump as we're dumping it in. We let the mixer run. Then it starts chewing that up or tearing it apart. And yeah, then we put all the other ingredients in from our trenches out here, the different silages, before we go into the feed room to get our grains and everything else. So we have a feeding chart, or yeah, you call it a feeding chart, the chart that has all the different ingredients and how much you need of each one, the pounds of each one, here in our tractor. And we put the straw, the balage, and then we have 4 different kinds of silage out here. We have 2 different trenches that have triticale in them, and a trench with corn silage, trench with Sudex. It's a sorghum sudan grass mix, and yeah, we put a little bit of each one in. The 2 different triticales we feed, the one triticale is a small grain silage that is a cross between wheat and rye. Makes really nice feed. It's been around for years. A lot of guys plant it. The one trench we fill with triticale when it's in the boot stage, which would mean before the heads come out, like in the spring when it's green and maturing. The heads are usually in the stems of the plant somewhere, but it's before you see them coming out. And then the other trench we would fill with, we let it finish heading out and chop that trench soon after it's headed out. What you make in the boot stage has a lot more protein. It's a lot more palatable or digestible for the cows. What is headed out still has protein, but not as high, but it has more fiber in it. We feed most of that to the heifers and dry cows, but we do mix just a little bit of that in with the milk cows. And the nice thing about what we make once it's headed out, it makes about double the tonnage. So that sure is a blessing in the spring where, yeah, a lot of times what we chop in the boot stage will get, I don't know, anywhere from 10 to 14 tons to the acre, depending on the spring and the year. Some years is better than others, depending on how much rain you get in the spring and that. And what we let head out will make at least close to double that. Maybe not. This past spring we had a bunch of rain, about 2 inches of rain right at the end of April. Then it got really dry in May, but it got the rain it needed right there at the end of April and really turned off. We got about 22 to 24 ton to the acre off of what we left head out. That would be, yeah, that would be including, that's not dry matter, that's as it was with moisture in it. But, so yeah, that was sure a blessing as it gave us a lot of extra feed. I had mentioned about having a feeding chart. We always put the ingredients in the same order because that's how they are on the chart, and it helps you not forget anything. But yeah, the last thing we always put in is our corn silage. This year we had a really good corn crop, so we tried to put up a little extra silage. In the area that we live in, it can be we have good ground, but you're always dependent on the Lord sending us rain, and some years are better than others. We don't have any irrigation, so yeah, we put the corn silage in last, and right now we're feeding, I think we're getting 9,500 pounds total out of the trenches. That would include the bale each. Yeah, when you're putting the last, or all of the ingredients, you want to get pretty much the same amount every time, but the last one is really critical. The other ones, if you fluctuate within 100 or 200 pounds, it's not a real big deal, but yeah, we try to keep it fairly consistent with what's going in as far as pounds wise in the last one. Yeah, after we get everything out of the trenches, then we come into the feed room, we zero the scales out, start putting the different grains in first, and we don't run the mixer. We always run the mixer when we're putting in the feed from out in the trenches because of yeah, chewing up the hay a little bit, hay and the straw. We do have a rotor cut on our round baler, so it chops up the hay some, but it's not yeah, it's not as fine as we would like it. So it's a mixer, and it has twin screws in it. There's 2 big screws inside. They call them screws. Looks like a big kind of a tapered auger, and it has knives on the augers that should help chew everything up and cut everything up as well. So yeah, we do let the mixer run while we're mixing up the feed from out at the trenches to help chew the hay apart and chop it up a little bit more. But then once we're running the grains and everything in the feed room, we don't run it till we're getting near the end. And we do put some corn silage out of the one silo. We have 2 silos here. The 2 silos total hold probably close to 2,000 tons of corn silage. One's a 24 foot and the other's a 20 foot. They're both about, the one's 85 and the other's 88 feet high. So yeah, probably, but what I was saying there about letting the mixer run, we do turn the mixer on while we're running the corn silage and then putting the whey in from the feed room to help. That's more just to mix all the ingredients together. It's probably, I don't know, 8 to 10 minutes total there for that. So. Yeah, here's our mixer. We have a Pat's mixer. It's 620 cubic feet. But then we have a rubber extension on the top, which adds about another 100 cubic feet. Which we need most of that for what we mix for right now. But yeah, Here's our controls in our feed room. There's the two big J-Star control boxes. Run the 2 silos with top unloaders, then all the other controls here for everything in the feed room. We have 3 feed bins that we keep our grains in, different ingredients. The one has protein mix in it, we call it, which would be roasted beans, and mineral has everything in it, all the minerals and salts and things along that line. Yeah, everything there. There's several different ingredients in there. I think we feed a little bit of corn gluten meal, a little bit of urea for protein as well. Yeah, then the other 2 feed bins, one of them has corn distillers, one of them has soybean meal in, different ingredients we feed. Both of those would be, most of the soybean meal would be for protein only. Corn distillers would have some protein and energy both in it. So, yeah, then we have our 3 different silos. 2 of them we keep corn silage in, and we have their top unloading silos, and we have a harvestor. It's a blue sealed silo that we keep our snaplage in, that's we use for energy. So yeah, we usually in the fall when we fill, we'll have the be feeding off of the one silo and just cap the other silo for now until later on in towards spring. Yeah, we feed out of about 4 different trenches. We have 4 different kinds of feed we feed out of trenches. So we'll show some of everything here as long as we can. It is in the morning. I do mostly feeding in the morning. So once in a great while I'll feed in the afternoon. I'll maybe try to do some in the daylight, but in the morning it will be dark out. So it won't be quite as nice, but we'll see what we can come up with. The noise you hear in the background is 1 feed bin auger running. We have flex augers in 2 of them, so they take a little bit longer to run in. The one has a 6-inch straight auger. That one you can get a lot of feed in a real big hurry. You better be Johnny on the spot or you'll end up with too much. But yeah, just a couple things here I'll maybe share about the farm a little bit, or about not necessarily about the farm, but my day usually starts around 3:15, often around the time I get up. Try to be heading out to the barn within a half an hour of that at the most. Yeah, try to be at the barn before 4, 3:45, yeah, somewhere around there. We, especially on the mornings on milk, whenever I feed, I don't come out till around 5 or a little after, but I'm usually up about the same time and just doing some reading, or I'm more of a morning person, so I'm usually awake before my alarm goes off. So that's a nice thing if I'm farming. Yeah, some people are more evening people, and I guess God makes each one unique and special with different we're all different. Yeah, a lot of times first thing I'll do in the morning is check my springers, the cows that are going to soon have calves, make sure everybody's okay, and then we go on with our day from there. My parents bought this farm in the fall of 1958, moved here in 1959. They would have started farming on a rented farm about half hour, 40 minutes from here. I think they farmed there 7 years before that. Soon after they were married, they started farming, and they moved here in 1959. I wasn't born yet. There's 8 of us in our family, 4 boys and 4 girls, and I'm the youngest in the family. My brothers, all that are older than me, were or are still farming. My oldest brother died from injuries from a farm accident around 20 years ago. Yeah, my other 2 brothers, he would have been here in PA, about 45 minutes from us. But my other 2 brothers both farm in South Carolina, so they're in a different state. But yeah, my father passed away when I was 14 from cancer, but I learned a lot from him before he passed away. Yeah, he taught me a lot of things about life, and yeah, it was just yeah, it's kind of interesting how much you pick up and how much you remember and how much he taught me before that. But one of the things he taught me was to always put forth your best effort, always work hard, but always do what is right. And yeah, so it's always live a life of integrity. That's very important in today's world. But yeah. Feed snap leach or ear leach, some people call it, to our cows for energy. I had mentioned about that. We keep it in our blue Harvestor sealed silo. It's whenever they put a combine head on the chopper, and everything that goes through the combine head, and it goes through the roller mill in the chopper and processes it, and it comes out ready to feed. We've been feeding it for 10 or 12 years. Here's kind of what it looks like. It makes really good feed. There's a little bit of husk, and it would have all the whole cob in it, the grain, the shell, the corn that's on the cob, and the cob mixed with it, and then there'd be a little bit of husk with it as well. So yeah, it makes really nice feed. One thing that's really nice about the ear leach is that it's so easy to process it. We used to have a roller mill blower in our silo that we processed it going into the silo before we did the ear leach, and yeah, it just took a lot of time. Here it's so fast and easy and don't take very long, and it is, yeah, it makes really good feed as well. So that's the most important part, is what's the best for the cows. This will be a little bit noisy, but I'd like to show you a little bit here running it out. This is, after we have the TMR, the total mix ration all mixed up, we pull up to feed our springers a little bit first. We feed them just a little bit of the same ration we feed the milk cows. Yeah. It's kind of interesting when you go to feed cows, they all are coming up and ready to eat. Yeah, it's always kind of interesting when you pull in here to start running the feed out. The cows come. I mean, they know that they're getting fresh feed. In the morning, we always push out the leftovers. That's anything that's left. It's usually not a lot, and oftentimes a couple 100 pounds, sometimes a little more, and sometimes a little less, depending on the weather a lot of times. But yeah, you pull in here and start running the feed out, they all come. If you look down here where we didn't run the feed out yet, where it's empty, there's nobody there, but there's a few cows heading this way. Yeah, the TMR, I'll try to get you a little bit of what it looks like once it's all mixed up. We feed several different ingredients, corn silage, triticale silage, a little bit of Sudex silage, which is a sorghum Sudan grass cross. Then we feed bale leach, ear leach or snap leach, and mix a little bit of whey in with it, yeah, and then our proteins and grains. Yeah, whenever you put it in the mixer and mix it all together, it comes up and you can't really see one ingredient over the other, and it makes a really nice feed. And every mouthful, the goal is for every mouthful that they pick up and eat is the same. Yeah, that's kind of the idea of a total mix ration or a TMR. So yeah, well, we are finishing it up. I'm heading into the house here in PA where we live. It's this time of year, it don't get light out till after 7 or around 7 it starts getting light. Yeah, it's right around 7 o'clock now. Usually, well, the milking, you can usually figure about 3 hours from the time you go to the barn till you're coming in, and feeding usually an hour, hour and a half, depending on who all you have to feed. So, well, good evening here. Just give you a little rundown of what all happens here on the farm in the evening. Right before I go to bed, I come out and check our springers one last time. Again, that's the cows that are going to soon have calves, and yeah, make sure nobody's having any trouble or anything like that. Typically, most times you don't have trouble. Every now and then a first calf heifer can have a little bit of trouble and you need to help them have their calf, but it's not a normal thing. Or every now and then you have a cow that's having a little difficulty for one reason or other. But yeah, there's a little calf we had born yesterday. Yeah, I believe it was just yesterday. Yeah, she's a red and white Holstein. Yeah, it's a little heifer calf. So yep, we put them in a stall, individual stall, for about 4 days to a week. Then we raise our calves in groups of 4 on a nipple bar feeder. So here's our Springer pen. Yeah, it's probably about 20 in here. We kind of just come in and walk through them kind of slow and not get them stirred up too bad, but yeah, it's good to just double check them good. I don't walk through them every night, but I'd say probably half the time. If we're away for the evening and we come home, I'll often just pull the car up through their car, truck up through the feed lane and look at them through there, or from there. But yeah, I don't see anybody in the middle of calving. There's usually about 5 to 6 hours at night that nobody checks them, unless I have one that I know's in the middle of calving or potentially could have trouble. Or yeah, if I would see one this evening that's looking like she's just starting to calve, it's not really far enough along to have it yet, sometimes I'll get up and come back out a couple hours later just to check to make sure everything's okay. And yep, everything looks good tonight. Most nights I come up to the freestall barn and just double check everything up here as well. Make sure everything seems okay. We also have a Juno feed pusher that pushes up the silage automatically. He's sitting right there at his charging station. We call it a him because we gave him a name and his name's Henry. We thought he had to have a name, so anyway, we've had that for 10 or 12 years. It pushes up the feed. I think it's 5 times between every milking. It's yeah, it's really nice to have that. And yeah, everything seems good up here. Don't hear or see anything out of place. And once in a great while, our feed pusher will not go back to his charging station or something, right? It's not very often that happens, but periodically. So I usually like to make sure that's good before I go to bed too, so the cows' feed's getting pushed up. As the cows eat their silage, they slowly work it out a little bit away from the neck rail. I'll walk down here where there's a little better lighting. We have several big lights in here in the barn, but when you're in between one of them, it's not dark in the barn, but on here it maybe looks a little darker. But yeah, they can, as they eat, they slowly push it out away from them a little bit. So yeah, that feed pusher just goes along and works it or pushes it back in so it's closer to them. We also have a plow we can put on the front of our skid loader. It's like on an angle, about a 45-degree angle, that we go around our couple different heifer barns, our dry cow barn, once or twice a day just for them and push theirs up. And yeah, it's very important to keep the milk cow's feed in front of them so everybody has plenty to eat and they have fresh feed all the time. So a lot of cows are still eating. Quite a few are laying in their stalls as well. So yeah, they're resting for the night. So